Hi again guys, and welcome to another Forza Horizon 3 speed build, and this time we've got another requested tune for the Volvo 1800E, which is of course a barn find vehicle, but you can also pick it up from the auction house. Now as far as performance on this one goes, it's not quite as quick as some of the other classics, even with quite a bit of power, so you do need to bear that in mind, and not too surprisingly, this is the kind of tune which I would recommend more so to people who specifically like the car and want to use it, rather than someone who's just looking for the fastest classic, because that it definitely isn't. Now as far as the engine swap, I'd recommend the 3.2 litre straight 6, and as far as the drivetrain, of course you want all-wheel drive. Now as far as the aspiration, of course the turbo conversion is pretty much essential to get, well, it is essential to get the maximum power out of it. Stuff like dechroming the bumpers or changing the rims, of course that's all down to you. And for the rest, it's pretty obvious what you need to do. Lower the weight, increase the power, improve basically all of your racing parts. But, as I've said before with some of my other tunes, you don't have to fit everything. Of course, for the best performance you do, but you don't have to have it in the S1 class, is really what I'm saying. You can have it down in a lower class if you just don't fit some of the parts. In particular, the tyres on any car make a huge difference. So just by fitting lower grade tyres, you'll still have very similar performance in a straight line, but more often than not, you'll be able to have that performance in a lower category. So, bear that in mind. If you need that to be the case, then of course you could do that. I do that on a lot of my cars. As far as the gearbox, I'd recommend 3.7 on the final drive, then individual gears of 2.9, 2, 1.5, 1.17, 0.95 and 0.78. As far as alignment, I've got neutral camber and toe, 4 degrees of caster on this one. Anti-roll we've got on 32 and 20, springs on 177, 150, and I believe that's the stock ride height. I think it is. Dampers we've got on 15, 13, 7 and 6. Aero of course doesn't apply. And for the diff, as I often would, I've got 100% on the acceleration side of things, 0% on decel. But as I always say, feel free to mess around or go with the setup that you already prefer. And an 80% centre split, which means it's going to be a little bit more tail happy than some. But of course, you can adjust that again as necessary. Now this tune is not on my storefront, it's a YouTube exclusive, and of course all that remains is to actually take this car out on the street to see what it can do. Ultimately, as I mentioned just now, the 1800E is not a classic which is going to annihilate every other classic in the game. Certainly not. It's actually one of the slower classics. But for those who do want to use the car, it can definitely win races for you, because it's not just about top-end speed, of course, it's acceleration as well. Plus, a big advantage in favour of the 1800E is how good the handling is. Most classics are fairly squirrely once you start getting above speeds of say 200, 210. This one handles really well. It's perfect for weaving through traffic, and it's really nicely balanced. Overall then, if you do use this tune, or of course some variation of it, I hope you have a lot of fun with it, and there are hundreds more which you can check out by clicking through to those at the end of this video. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.